Here in Seattle, right behind us, we have a pro-Iranian protest that says no war in Iran protest going on here. Once again, we're here in Seattle today. We're talking to protesters and confronting them. We're asking them what they're protesting for, what their stance is on this potential war that could break out. As if you did not know, on July 13th, Israel launched ballistic missiles at Iran, took out around 20 of their leaders, and now they've been in a consistent war. There's been over 1,100 missile strikes, and then Iran retaliated, and now they're at a full-on war. And now the United States is trying to decide what we should do. President Trump's trying to determine should we get involved in this or not? So today we're going to be talking to these protesters, seeing what they're protesting for, and see what they have to say. Honestly, I don't know too much on the subject. I don't like war. I think it's really sad. So we'll see what they have to say. Here we go. How are you guys doing?
Treaty or acknowledge their estimated 90 to 200
How are you guys doing?
arsenal of nuclear
What's the sign say?
warheads.
What's the sign say? No war on Iran. Arms embargo on Israel now. What is arms embargo on Israel now?
It basically means to stop supplying arms and weapons to Israel.
Whose war do you think this is to fight, or do you think there should be a war going on?
I don't think there should be a war going on. All this is doing is killing innocent civilians.
Does it concern you? Because if Iran does have a nuclear weapon, if Iran does have a nuclear weapon, does that concern you?
They don't, so it doesn't concern me.
Okay. What evidence leads you to think they do not have a nuclear weapon?
They are part of a treaty that they don't have one, so yeah. I also don't really want to be interviewed, so
okay, no worries. Thank you so much for your time. All right, we're going to walk through here. Look, we have murdering
children,
women, and men in Gaza. Out here today.
Just this week, they cite starving children standing in food aid lines to receive flour.
How are you guys doing? What's the sign say?
They have killed over 1,000
Defend Gaza, Iran, Lebanon, and Yemen against Israel, U.S. genocide or international group. What are you most worried about for this war potentially break out if the United States does get involved?
The Zionists have opened another
Wait, who are you people?
My name is Nick Shirley.
Are you with an organization?
No, I have my own YouTube.
What kind of YouTube channel do you have?
Oh, we just talk to people that protest, go across the country, go wherever there's something going on.
How do you comment on those protests?
How do I comment on this protest?
Yeah, what is it?
Well, this issue, it's new, so I don't have too much opinion on it. That's why we came here to talk to people that have a lot of opinions on it.
All they can really say is we're opposed to any imperialist war that the U.S. wages in any country, and we're opposed to the massive and we call upon the international working class to stand up against any imperialist war that occurs. But that's all we really have to say.
Okay, why do you think Israel, and there's always so much conflict in the Middle East, what do you think causes that?
Are these the violent criminals he speaks of?
Why? Okay, never mind. All right, let's move out here. We got some people out here on the street. How are you doing, sir? What brings you out here today?
I don't want war.
Just letting you know, we do have a press liaison, so if you're willing to give the interview, that's totally fine, but I wanted to let them know we have people to give interviews if they're looking for one, so yeah.
I mean, I'm not really with anyone in particular. I'm just here by myself, and I just don't want war. I think world has enough problems. We need to be working together and trying not to destroy infrastructure and people's lives. Seems rather wasteful when we have all these other problems.
Do you think Iran poses a threat to Israel and to the United States?
I mean, sure, there's the potential for a threat, but I think we need to be doing things peacefully.
And what would you like them to do?
I would like people, in the world in general, to just collaborate better, to make more genuine efforts to understand each other's struggles and work on, keeping human society alive through what's going to be some really tough decades, even if there's no war.
Do you think that's possible?
I'd like to try.
And Donald Trump did say he was working to try to get a nuclear deal signed for a very long time, and then Iran never wanted to stop their nuclear bomb building.
I don't know the details of what he was actually trying. I do know that he left the old nuclear deal that they had, But I don't think that, let's say he did say for 60 days, 61 days, whatever it was, that he had wanted them to stop all their nuclear production, and then they didn't. I still don't think it's right to suddenly start bombing them. I think we need to find another path. I think we need to maybe make more open pressure. Maybe he was doing that privately. Maybe we need to have more talks with the UN or something and do this peacefully, because when you attack people, even though the Iranian state isn't particularly good to, it's a rather authoritarian regime and stuff, even though they're not that good, if they're attacked, their people are naturally still going to be patriotic to their own country, most of them. And they're not going to like us. They're certainly not going to like Israel. And so I don't think, in terms of a long-term strategy, attacking Iran is a good idea.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day, sir. All right, let's move on up over here. How are you doing, sir? What's your flag say?
Sorry?
What's your flag say?
Oh, Veterans for Peace.
Veterans for Peace. What war did you serve in, or what did you serve in?
Vietnam.
Vietnam. And does it concern you? Say Iran actually is building this nuclear bomb. Do you think the United States should go in and drop the bunker buster to destroy their nuclear facilities?
Well, first of all, I don't think they are building the bomb.
Yeah,
Secondly,
a lot of people are wondering if they actually have it. For instance, there's videos of Netanyahu talking in 1995 about them being close to this uranium enrichment rate where they could have that bomb, and then he said if they didn't act now with this new rising lion, I think that's what it's called, they would have been around 2 weeks away from having this nuclear bomb.
Yeah, well,
Do you think the American citizens should trust Netanyahu?
no, not at all. The international agencies have looked at Iran's program, and they're not building a bomb. They've been enriching some plutonium, but they say that it's for peaceful purposes, and I believe them.
Really? What makes you believe Iran? What makes you believe them?
I believe them because, as I said, international agencies have determined that they're blameless,
It's kind of a complicated issue, right? Because you have Israel, who are allies of the United States, and then you have Iran, who are not allies of the United States, and they pose a threat to Israel.
That's a good
and
point.
They wish death. There's videos of them saying we wish death upon America, or death to America, death to Israel. So it kind of puts everyone in a hard position.
I've never understood why the United States gives Israel a blank check to do whatever it wants. Even in the '67 war, they sank the USS Liberty, an American ship, with a flag on it as large as the one down at Home Depot, and they claimed that they didn't know it was American. Now, why in the world we ever forgave that, I have no idea.
I've never heard about that.
And look it up, USS Liberty. It was a spy ship, actually, and they were monitoring Israeli communications as well as all the other communications in the war fighting.
Thank you very much, sir. Have a great rest of your day. All right, let's move up here. We got some people here on the streets. Let's see what they got to say. Hey, thank you very much, Chainsaw Man, for the donation. We appreciate you. How are you guys doing? Oh, can we talk to you real quick? We're just live. We're talking to you. What's the sign say today? You got the backpack that says Stop Genocide with the LED lights. Look, you got the LED lights set up. You got the boots. You got the dog out here. The hat. What's the sign say? America number one in terrorism, incarceration, dropping nukes,
inequality, evil.
Shut the fuck up, fat bitch! Come on out! Come on out! Say it right here! Come say it right here! Come say it right here!
No, why are we yelling?
Keep driving! Drive! Drive!
Love you.
What just happened?
Yelling shit. Can't stand on it 10 toes down.
How close do you guys think we are to World War III?
World War III has been started. We've been facilitating World War III for over a decade. Right now, with the new phase of Israel going to war with Iran, that could just escalate to levels we can't even comprehend.
What should the United States do, in your opinion? Should they be completely hands off this war?
Well, at this point, we've been so hands-on. We would need to do something to put out the fires that we've already started. We funded Israel. We need to break up all these partnerships, break up entire economies that are based on death and destruction. We need to, like, what kind of society do you have when you celebrate killers? Like that's if you want to get a house in America, you have to sign up and kill people for the government, we've warped people's sense of reality. And some people have become numb to this kind of stuff. It's good to see more and more people waking up. But right now,
what do you mean if you want to buy a house here in America?
You have to. Most Americans who can't get houses unless they sign up to kill for the military. My family is mostly military. Both my parents were knowingly poisoned by the military bases that they worked at. They thought they were helping take care of us, but it was just like we're poisoning an already sick society. So it's just like we need to actually have values and principles. We need to build a society that's worth fighting for, and that includes a society that's not always fighting.
Do you trust Netanyahu in the Mossad, for instance, with the information they're giving us right now?
I don't trust anybody in their government, my government. Don't trust the Iranian government, but I trust my government less. I trust no one who can blindly accept genocide, calmly talk about killing kids, have like cute language to cover up all of their illegalities and evil.
So between Iran, Israel, and the United States, who do you trust the most?
Iran. That's an ancient civilization. Like, well, I was watching. They had Israel commercials where they're talking about we're standing up for civilization. Iran, their calendar is not the Gregorian. It goes back way further than anything Europe can imagine. They helped Europe get out of their dark ages. And it's just funny, the people who helped the Europeans end up becoming the victims. So right now we're looking at China. How do we colonize? We got the weapons from China. We got the religion. We got all of these secrets from these ancient lands that we call backwards, and we go in and kill them and call them savage.
Yeah.
And then what do we have here? Look at our leaders. Are they creators? Are there anything our democracy that we're deporting is the most evil form of oligarchy, cold, harsh, dehumanizing, and that we have depression rates to show it. So it's just like you watch an American television program, it's going to be nothing wall-to-wall depression medicine advertisements because we're sad, we're destroyed, and demoralized. This is how you get. This is democracy showing up to see your will reflected.
Yeah. And I don't think any country is perfect, right? And it's interesting if you look at the history of like Iran, just like in the 70s, they were like a very popular tourist location for people. People would go across the world to go to Iran to see their buildings, just speak to the people and enjoy the culture there as they're over there. And then here in the United States, you're also seeing a lot of shift as well. For instance, right now we have Trump in office. We have Robert F. Kennedy going after the food systems here in the United States, trying to get rid of stuff like Red 40, stuff that we all know that's like poisoning human people, us, right? And who do you think out of, for instance, Anatola, and in Iran, the leader, don't know if I said that 100% right, Netanyahu, and Trump. Out of those three, who would you rather have leading your country?
I'd rather have a people's revolution. The Ayatollah, I'm sure he's much better option than we have. It's just, but I'm against any government that can't explain.
The Ayatollah is the name of the
Ayatollah is the name of the position.
The name of the position.
Yeah. The Ayatollah of Iran. They're trying to replace him with the Shah, the old Shah's.
Because right now, a lot of people are like in opposition to that regime.
And this is what we're trying to impose, because you look at the leadership. Trump, descendant of wealth, right? Netanyahu, it's just like you come from wealth and privilege and connection, political connection. They want to replace the Ayatollah with the Shah of Iran's son, the one who we originally overthrew and replaced. They want to replace it with his son. So it's like trying to replace Hillary Clinton with Chelsea Clinton. It's like it's the same thing. a different flavor, but then they call that democracy. No one voted for it. So it's like all the stuff we claim to care about the Iranian people. That's why we want to do a regime change. Just like we heard the same shit during Iraq. We care so much about the Iraqi people that we want to do a regime change. Millions of people dead, and then we commit more hate crimes on people who look like them than ever, because that this is how the propaganda works. We care about them so much, we're going to commit hate crimes on them, and we're going to commit millions of murders.
Hey, well, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Have a great rest of your day out here. You guys cannot tell.
Ask you guys, like,
what's up?
Is this going to be posted? I don't mind if it's posted. I'm just checking.
Oh,
Like,
we're live.
Look it up
Nick Shirley.
Who?
Live on Nick Shirley. You should go ahead and subscribe if you're not subscried. Nick Shirley.
Nick Shirley?
Yeah, right there, Nick Shirley. What's up, everybody? What's up? What's good, chat? All right, you guys, let's keep moving on along here. You guys, if you guys cannot tell, conflicts in the Middle East are super complicated. I'm by no means an expert. There's actually one of the reasons why we are here today is to learn and speak with people. And everyone knows Middle East conflicts are extremely complicated, so we're going to continue talking to people out here as well. What's your sign say? What's the sign say? RN against arming Israel. What's the back of it say? Millions for Israel while Americans suffer. Doge cuts. Work till you die. What makes you want to come out here today?
I'm good.
You're good?
Yeah, I don't want to talk.
Okay, no worries. How are you doing, ma'am?
I'm good. I was wondering what organization you guys are with. Are you guys...
My name's Nick Shirley.
Nick, are you a podcaster?
Yep.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah,
are
we're live right now.
Are you with UW? Do you go to UW?
I do not go to UW.
Oh, okay. How did you, what brought you out today?
We're just here in Seattle today, and we saw the flyer, so we came out and wanted to talk to the people.
Oh, fantastic.
Saw it on Reddit.
That's where I saw it too. So are you familiar, are you draft age?
I am draft age.
Are you prepared to go to war for the United States if we have to support?
Physically, I could.
Physically, you could. Would you?
I would not want to go to war. No.
You would not want to go to war. Would it be this war or just any war?
That's a good question. I wouldn't want to really go to war unless it was necessary, like 100% necessary.
Yeah. Do you think that do you think that what we're out here for today, would you find it to be necessary for us to go to war with Iran right now?
So I talked to a lot of veterans actually who have, in a video I made earlier on here on the channel, I talked to a lot of veterans, and they said like this war wouldn't really be a war with troops. It'd be more missiles, bombs, aircrafts, drones, and whatnot. And they said the veterans have said that it would be more of a precision attack where it wouldn't be like a long-lasting war. And I wouldn't want to go put my boots on the ground in Iran. I wouldn't want to die in soil that's not where I'm from.
Do you actually think that we could win a war like this, given the fact that, so part of what the war of attrition would be, we would need bombs, drones, and electronic equipment. But right now, we are not successfully getting all of the rare earth minerals that we would need to scale up an attack. Not to mention we're already depleted through the war with Ukraine. So when you're talking to the veterans like that, have any of them thought about that when they're thinking about how would we actually, not even just fund, but how would we actually fuel the war?
I think we'd be able to fund the war if we had to do it, right? The United States.
Well, now as a young man, if your taxes went up, if you found that, because I was 20 years old when we went to war when we went to the forever war with Iraq and Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And so I know that the promises made to us are no longer existent. The education is overpriced. Our children do not go to better schools. We have to. We can't afford homes. A vehicle nowadays, which is a symbol of American ownership, is now over $1,000 a month. Most of us need $4,000 to $6,000 a month if we wanted to be a single adult in our communities. Do you see that a war would make that better for your future?
No, it wouldn't make the future better for anybody, right?
Right. Well, and that's because
nobody wants war. I've never met somebody who's like, I want war.
Well, and
the problem is, for instance, I went to Ukraine last August.
Oh.
I was actually in Israel a few months ago for a YouTube video, and I actually planned to go to Gaza. I thought you could go to the Gaza Strip, but I went to Israel, and the people were like, no, if you go, you'll die. So I did not get into Gaza. But and when you speak to the people in these war-torn countries, none of them want war. It's the leaders, like for instance, Putin initiated the war in Ukraine. Netanyahu initiated this war with Iran. So none of the civilians want to go to war.
Right.
Right? So like me and you, we don't want to go to war.
Right. So do you think that it's kind of interesting? Because, I mean, I come from a family of law enforcement and veterans as well. And sometimes I think that it's, especially with the new, like my mother was a Vietnam veteran, but she was also, she also worked as an administrator. So she didn't really go see war. The people who come back from actual war, like my brother-in-law, cannot go out in public without guns. They're not, and those are the healthy ones, right? So we've got systemic homelessness, drug addiction, emotional disturbances, PTSD, suicide, and that's coming back from the forever war. So what makes anyone who says, I think that this war, they said every war was going to be fast. I just want you to know that the people who fund, who make profit off of these wars, they all say it's going to be fast.
Yeah.
And you get yourself in there and you're talking about you're going to bomb. Imagine, we could have a difference of opinion, right? If something falls out of that sky and it's not ours, you and I are immediately on the same team.
Yeah.
Iran, whatever they think about their leadership, do not want their beautiful cities bombed, destroyed, their families in fear, loss, death. We're talking about migration crises here in this. How do you think these immigrants, these refugees come from? They come from these wars. So what's coming to our shores is the result of American imperialism over the last 100 years. As the gentleman probably talked to you about, America, CIA overthrew the Iranian democracy back in the 50s. So these things never come out the way we think they do, and we don't ever see the benefit. We don't. Rich men in DC, rich men see the benefit. We never do. And so, I'm so sorry that I came over because I just wanted to.
I agree with a lot of points. I don't think we should fight in endless wars or pointless wars. And the thing that is concerning about Iran is if they do have a nuclear weapon, for instance, Israel has said they would not hesitate to drop on Israel. Israel are allies with the United States. They're our allies in the Middle East, which is important. We need to have allies in the Middle East.
But don't we have Saudi Arabia as a current ally?
I could not say whether or not they are, but I know that is I don't know if they're part of the Western world, you'd say.
Well,
and so I would wonder if they'd rather go defend the Muslim Brotherhood than go
so they're actually, Iran and Saudi Arabia historically do not actually get along. But right now, because they want to westernize, that's why Joe Biden.
It looks like right now we have a good relationship with Saudi Arabia.
Well, we've had because remember they're part of their oil is tied to our dollar. So we've had longstanding. FDR went to the monarchy of Saudi Arabia after World War II. It was the first place he went was the monarchy of Saudi Arabia, and they solidified our relationship with Saudi Arabia. And that's the reason why Saudi Arabia doesn't really have a lot of weapons was because our agreement was that we would always protect Saudi Arabia. If they gave us their oil, we would always protect them. Now, if you know right now, Donald Trump just made an agreement with them where we would start providing them with weapons. So, but that's a different story. But just to, it kind of is understanding that the Middle East is not a monolith is really important because they actually are Shia, Sunni, Muslim, Arab, Persian. It's very, very different there, and it's a very complex system. And so, Benjamin Netanyahu went to school in New Jersey. He knows how to manipulate Americans. But, what are we getting from Palestine or what are we getting from Israel at this point in time? If you actually ask yourself about that, the war in Iraq was partially because Benjamin Netanyahu came over and came to Congress, and he has been saying that Iran is 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 days from a bomb for 30 years.
I know. I saw those videos. I was like, what the heck? Yeah.
He is a disingenuous politician, and he is warmonger to us forever. You've got to understand, there's a difference between a nuclear program and a nuclear bomb. And just because you even have the nuclear material doesn't mean that you can just get the switch and drop a bomb. It's very, very complicated. So even if they had enough material, they're still about a year away. You're talking about going to war on a speculation 6 months to a year out. They were supposed to be meeting on last Sunday to continue making agreements about their nuclear program, which, by the way, Barack Obama had us in the JCPOA, which was an agreement for weapons inspection. And Benjamin Netanyahu is always going to be this wasn't perfect. It wasn't perfect. when you're going into another country and telling it how to run, you're not going to win everything. That is the whole point of diplomacy and concessions. The idea that we are going to have peace through violence, whereas we're going to have imperfect peace, like you have to pick between those two. So, but just again, I would just go with the historical context. We've never gotten into a war that we just backed out of and there were no consequences.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't. The wars are not good for anybody. I do think if, say, the United States were to enter in this war, it does profit. People do make a lot of money off of wars, right? I do think if the United States say I don't really want them to enter into this war. Like, I think it'd be a bad idea. And I do think, though, that if the United States did enter into this war, it would be, I don't think it'd be a forever war. Trump's talked about not wanting to ever have forever wars. We didn't have any wars when he was first in office, and now we might have one, but we hope we don't.
Remember, we were in the forever war when he was in office. He said he was going to get us out of that war. Then Joe Biden is the president who got us out of that war. And remember,
the Afghan withdrawal, which killed tons of troops.
Which goes to show you can never get out. Which means you can never get out of war easily.
You need to have like U.S. military bases throughout the world, which we.
But why do we? But why?
To protect us in case people wish death upon us. People don't like America.
But why do you think? Well, first of all, a lot of people really do like America. What
There's
they
also
don't
a lot of people who don't, which are a small minority, but that small minority.
But also, like, you have to take into consideration almost 80 years of imperialism and sabotage. We've overthrown democratically elected, socialized countries, like in South America, Central America, and the Middle East, and in the USSR for as long as, since before I was alive. So there is a reason why people don't like us. They don't want us. I don't want Russia meddling in my country. We should not be meddling in other people's affairs. Like, we should be more, because remember, we got into business with like Bosnia, and the next thing you know, we're picking sides, bombing people. Libya has not turned out well for us. That is a war-torn country. We deposed Libya. What's his name?
I don't know. I mean, this is history before.
Yeah. Well, you know what? And this is what I would actually encourage you to do, is look up people like Roy Castanga. He's a YouTube professor who talks a lot about these Middle Eastern, countries, the histories behind them. I mean, I would really encourage you to educate yourself, because you obviously have a platform and people are going to listen to you. Go out there. I mean, this is part
of it. That's why we're here talking to people.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert on this, so we gotta talk to people like you. We gotta talk to people like that guy over there. We gotta talk to people like this to give perspective about everything. So I'm not claiming to be an expert on anything.
No.
Most of my stuff is just opinion based and what I see from my own eyes.
Well, clearly, and you're going to talk to people. You said yourself you're talking to veterans. You're going over to the Middle East and to Europe and seeing these things for yourself. I didn't get engaged in. I was really upset when Obama drew the red line over Syria, because we were already in the forever war, and I thought, well, you know what? It's good. Congress wouldn't give him the right to go to war there. We don't need more wars. And then I come back and I watch. Next thing you know, they've got videos of children being gassed to death, and I realized, because I was ignorant of foreign affairs, I'll buy whatever people will sell me about another country. And so I go out there and I make sure that I do the research for myself.
Yeah, same here. That's why we're out here. That's why we go to the boots on the ground, to the locations. And I've been, like I said, I went to Israel, I went to Ukraine, met great people, and it's interesting because you can go I'm sure that same thing would happen if I went to Russia and I went to Moscow and I went to a cafe and people would be nice to me, they'd receive me. It's not the people of the country, it's the leaders and the regime that really are the ones that cause a lot of this stuff. And it's focusing on history that's so far back when we should be focusing more on the present and figuring out how we can better get along.
Absolutely, and never quashing that anger. I mean, if you look at the Russians and Ukrainians, they're practically brothers and sisters. I mean, a lot
of Ukrainians speak Russian.
Yeah, Iran is right there with all of those other. Like I said, it's all very interconnected. The only thing that drew those boundaries was Britain. Britain went in there and drew those states. So it's really important to just
And I also do believe in the Bible. I believe in the second coming of Christ, and it prophesies that wars are going to happen. So I feel like it's also inevitable that wars are going to be happening as well.
Well, I mean, I'm always always a little hesitant to, because there's a, because Christianity is a minority religion, so a lot of people have a lot of beliefs about that. What I know is that I know that I have, as somebody who was really inspired by Christ growing up, the one thing I always remember is that he didn't want pain, he didn't want suffering, he looked out for the poorest, the weakest, the parents, the ill, the children. All of those people suffer in war. Mm-hmm. So regardless of what the Bible says, Christ says that we should be avoiding this at all costs.
Yeah, he wants us all to be peacemakers, but the devil does not.
Yeah.
And so there's always an opposition in all things. So.
But here's the thing, right? It's like the people that, like my mother is a deeply religious person, and she is absolutely, she is war porn excited about this happening over there, because she swears up and down it means Jesus is coming. Like, I don't think that this is what Jesus, I do not think that a country should make their policy based upon biblical prophecy. Like, it will not end well. And also, here's another thing you got to consider is, like, while you're talking to a lot of vets, our country is susceptible because we do not have modern infrastructure. As somebody who studies cybersecurity, we are susceptible to all kinds of infrastructure, grid attacks, and everything else. You think that the country that couldn't not handle, wearing masks and not going to Applebee's is going to do well when the water and the electricity goes down for 3 months? Like, we really have to think about, war is a monster that you think you have on a leash until you don't.
So that's why we need to prevent it from getting to the homeland.
Well, but they're not.
Right? That's the worry that, like, Trump talked about. If they do get that nuclear weapon, the odds of it reaching the United States is low. Right, but just the potential of it, a nuclear weapon potentially reaching the United States would be really bad.
Well, think about it this, okay? If a nuclear bomb, bomb dropped, right? It's got a radius, right? There's your damage. If you take out a grid, you can take out the grid in Seattle, you can take out the grid in Portland, you can take out the grid in California, you can take out, there's so much more destruction that you can do with non-violent sabotage.
And I think, say the United States does enter into this war with Iran, this is a whole other topic, I think we'll start seeing a rise in terrorist attacks across the United States. I think there's tons of sleeper cells here. I've met people that came across the border that were from Iran, and I worry that some of those people could be sleeper cells. They could not like America, and they could start carrying backpacks on subways. You never know what happens.
Do you think if they felt that way that they would come to America?
Well, that's the thing. The only way America could really fall is if there's an attack from the inside. And so, for instance, if the CCP sends in a bunch of Chinese spies, a bunch of Chinese military men, they could then attack.
I think that's a lot more complicated, though, than really just as simple as just. I mean, right now we've got people getting snatched off the street. I mean,
right now we have people protesting and that are against the United States going after illegal immigrants that came here illegally that have been charged for crimes. I just saw somebody who was an illegal immigrant in, I think it was Minnesota, I want to say, where they leaked out that ICE was going out to find this guy, and people alerted this guy that ICE is coming for you, and this guy was literally a child predator. Right. So here in the United States, you have people that are against the deportation of criminals.
We are against the deportation of people who came here legally, had their status changed, and are now being called illegal. Like,
that's not the case for a lot of people.
But it is the case for the majority of them. It isn't the case.
Like, if someone's here illegally, they also run the risk.
But
if they cross that border illegally, they know that, okay, I had the risk of being deported, so you can't be mad when you do get deported.
No. Here's what happens.
If you came here
they have lived here legally. They had permission to be here. The administration suddenly, without warning, changed their legal status.
When Biden was in office, he did give around like 400,000 people from Cuba, Venezuela, Nicaragua, and Haiti. He gave them protection status, but he was flying these people in. He was flooding the system, and then what Trump did, he took that off.
Well, okay, so ask yourself, how many people in the percentage of Americans are 400,000 people? Like, there's 330 million people in America. Yeah. So you're talking about 400,000 people. You've almost secured, like, the loss of workforce, like the workforce that maybe died over the year. Like, 400,000 people is not. Well, and let me ask you this:
100,000 people is enough to affect a swing state.
But they're not in swing states.
They sent a lot of these people to swing states. Like that, I believe that was part of the plan. Is to bring in the people, give them citizenship, and then a lot of them, you found them in swing states.
But they don't have citizenship if
that was the plan. Is to
But the citizenship is still a long-term process.
But that was the plan, to increase it so it wasn't as long-term of a process.
Like 4 years?
And it was just caught that the CCP was making fake IDs so people could vote in states like California. And that, the FBI just released that the other day.
You know what?
So, like, that's what concerns me.
But
now we're getting on a different topic,
but I mean, well, no, because I mean, I think it is on topic, because my question for you is like, what information are you hearing? Because this is obviously not stuff that I'm seeing
from the FBI on their X, on their socials.
Now
from
you're
their
saying
websites.
that the CCP is printing IDs.
Yes, they got caught.
Okay, so the CCP, the Chinese, right? The Chinese Communist Party is printing IDs like in a. Let me ask you this: if your attention is a pie, right? If your attention is a pie, is your attention being paid to the largest problems at hand?
I think that's a pretty important problem right there.
Well, but here's my question for you: is if let's say that we had more fraud being committed by a bank. Let's say a bank did more crime, more fraud. They did criminal intent to 100,000 people.
Yeah.
And the CCP managed to print some IDs and get fake votes into 50 people. So if your attention is a pie, which portion of your attention should you be like? It's not. You don't have unlimited attention. So if you're paying more attention to,
it should be given just as amount of attention to one issue as to the other.
Well, I mean,
that's a pretty big one if the CCP is coming in here. That's just an example.
But do we know what America does in China?
No.
Exactly. So we don't know if we aren't doing similar things over in China.
But we aren't. It hasn't came out that we are doing that.
But we don't know that. You think that we get news
from
China?
That just came out. That did happen. So that's the information that we can trust as of right now.
Here in America, right? But we don't
know. We know. Well, Trump says that him and Xi Jinping have an excellent relationship. He just said that the other day. But
he says a lot of things.
I know he does say a lot of things, right? He keeps us all entertained. But so we don't know exactly what's happening. But that just came out. That did happen. So we do know that happened.
I know,
so
and
we should be
but I'm saying,
like, we know.
If we're doing actions, if we're complaining about actions that we're doing in other countries, is it fair for us to, like, as people, like, we allow our government to go do the same thing in their country?
Do we know that?
Yeah. I mean, that was the whole Chinese air balloon things and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, we were involved in the Hong Kong protests. Like, we are literally the whole beef with Taiwan. They want Taiwan back. The only reason why we even protect Taiwan is because they are the major manufacturer of all complex chips on
if a war breaks out in China and Taiwan, we're all cooked. It's not good for anybody.
And so let me ask you this: if we have a problem there, why would we go blow up all of our bombs and use up all of our resources over this beef in Israel and Iran? Why would we get stuck? We can barely keep our head above water with Ukraine. Now you want us now?
That's not our fight. Ukraine is not our fight.
Irrelevant. We bombed and supplied them. They have diminished our supplies. Now Israel has already diminished our supplies because we've been giving them bombs for Gaza. Now they want us to go have another war. They want our support in Iran, and then China's sitting over there just waiting. Do we even know what North Korea has?
No, we don't. That's why we need to have a strong military.
No, we need to have strong diplomacy. You will never be.
You need to have both.
You know that scene in the Avengers?
Don't you guys think we need to have both a strong military and strong diplomacy?
But
I think you need to have both.
But here's the thing: is we've only ever focused on the military. We've never focused on diplomacy. Because, like, we had the JCPOA, and Donald Trump took us out of it. That was an agreement with Iran over their nuclear program. We can't tell another country, while we have nuclear bombs, that they can't have nuclear power. We can't do that. That's arrogant. And that's what these countries are. You know the scene in the Avengers, like, whatever, where it's like Thanos and all of the Avengers are coming for him? It's like, America is Thanos.
Yeah.
All of those, like, mighty Avengers, they will take us down.
That's why we gotta be protected. We gotta be strong.
But why don't we try diplomacy?
I think we have tried. Trump was trying it for a very long time. He's been on the topic of Iran. He's been extremely consistent over the years that Iran cannot have a nuclear.
But that's not his. Weapon. That's not his call to make. And they were just negotiating it. They were just negotiating a nuclear proliferation agreement. We don't get to tell other countries what to do.
Okay.
If I came into your house and told you what to do, would you take that serious?
No, I would not take you.
You know how many people? I mean, well, you know this because I know you saw Tucker Carlson. How many people live in Iran?
Around 90 million.
Exactly. Like that is almost 1/3 of the people that live in the United States. You want to go tell Central America what they're going to do? Do you like it when another state comes and tells your state what to do? We don't get to do that. We get to talk. We get to have agreements. We get to negotiate. Like I want to see Donald Trump. I called the White House the other day.
Really? You called him?
I did.
What'd you say?
I said, please, 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 no matter what, do not go to war with Iran. I said, please, no matter what.
I don't want us to go to war.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I think we're all in agreement on this, but be careful about where you're getting your messaging because, like you're saying, you're like, you need to talk about diplomacy. You need to talk about the fact that America is not on the right side of history in this situation. We need to talk about America's rightful place in the world. We are 4% of the global population. We do not get to and we have pissed off all of these countries over the last 80 years. Go back and learn the history of these countries and what America has done. None of them like us, and it's well deserved. We have crashed and destroyed their economies. We have bled them dry. We have made them victims of the IMF. Like, we can go back and apologize, but I think our days of like being the big bad, like, again, we were in a forever war. We couldn't win it. We never won it. I don't care who drew it. You know why Donald Trump didn't take us out of it? Because it was hard. Joe Biden did the hard work, and you saw what happened. People died. It was awful. That was going to happen under everybody. Because if Donald Trump could have done it any better, he would have. I want you to think about that. It didn't matter. They are just little leaders at the top of this, like, you know, what did Hassan say the other day? America's just five global weapons manufacturers in a trench coat.
Who's Hassan?
Hassan, he's a podcaster.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's the Young Turk's nephew or whatever it is. Anyways, though, but no, I mean it's just a saying. Like all we are is a weapons manufacturer. I don't want to be that. Like, I
just want America to be the top nation in the entire world.
Well, why do we have to be the top? Why can't we just be a good nation?
Why would you be anything but first?
Why does it matter if you're first?
I want to be winner. No one likes losing.
But being
you want to be most respected.
No. Like, but first is not respected. Like, you're talking about like winning a race. Like
that's why we're also a target because we are number one. So everyone wants to take down number one.
But why aren't we a target? Because of all the shitty things we've done overseas.
What do you mean?
We've overthrown like the governments of like 10 different countries since like the inception of this. You know, like since the 50s. Like. Iran is a state in the current state that it is because the CIA overthrew their government. You don't do these things and there's an instantaneous change or there's an instantaneous reaction or the impact is instantaneous. Mm-hmm. You see it over decades.
Yeah.
So that's
history's not perfect by any means. There's a lot of things that we could have done better. I agree with you.
Yeah, it's not that it's not perfect. It's just that it's like it is way more complicated, and that's why it's like when you're saying we need to be number one. I'm just saying.
I would much rather be number one than number two.
What would be wrong with being number two? Who's number two?
Being number two would suck.
Why?
Have you ever ran track? You know how bad it sucks to come in second when you could have been first?
Track. This is a country.
I know, but
no, like
you want to be number one.
You want to be number one in economies. You want to be number one in attractiveness. You want to be a number one in life expectancy. You want to be number one. That doesn't come from being number one at war.
That's part of it. You want to be number one in everything.
Like
if we're talking about all that, you want to be number one in everything.
But if you want to have the kind of war, if you want to have the kind of military where all you can do is just go crush every country in the world, you're not going to have the focus that you need to have on the people in the country. You can't. Again, it's pie. There's only, we're $36 trillion in debt. You know who gets to pay that, honey? You and me.
I know.
Like, that's war. That's war. That's the cost of war. That's not student loans. That's not, veterans. That's not Social Security, disability. That is all war that is all war money. You are going to pay for the rest of your life for people to drop bombs on other countries where they're going to hate.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah, which is why I'm telling you, like, when you're like, it doesn't, here's the thing is, I don't care what the CCP did. I don't care what Donald Trump said. Yeah, I don't care if Joe Biden got, I don't care. Right now, we're moving forward. And moving forward means we stand out here in a corner, whether you are black, white, blue, red, whatever. And we all agree what we are not doing is going to another fucking war. You know,
I don't want to skip to another war.
and I say that because I have children the same age as you, and I don't want to see them do to you what they did to the guys that I went to school with. I don't want to see you wandering around with a gun, paranoid like my brother-in-law is. And that's going to happen if we don't find some adults in the room to stop acting like it's more important to be number one at war than it is to be number one at life expectancy of children.
Well, you certainly don't want to be number 2 in war, because that means you lose.
You know what? I mean, by how? You know, the greatest people at war never go to war.
That's why Switzerland's such a great country, man. But unfortunately, we're in this position right now. We got to figure it out. So
we're
but
not
I
in this
appreciate you.
position. Benjamin Netanyahu is in this position.
I know, Netanyahu.
Like, we don't have to be in this position. That's why we're out here, too, because we're trying to be proactive.
I hope Trump makes the right decision, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
right?
thanks for letting me take up your time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Young man, I hope you learned some stuff today about
Thank
Iran.
you. I know, we're learning a lot out here, talking a lot, too. Are you a professor or what? Are you a professor?
No.
I think we agree on a lot more things than we disagree, man. Like, we just,
You gotta remember, I come from a Mormon background. Like, I grew up religious. I grew up with all of this stuff. It was really when I got an education that I realized the world is a lot bigger than what I thought it was. And I just realized, like, a lot of the stuff they're telling me to focus on is bullshit. This is what really matters. Like I said, they're going to take my kid, they're going to take my taxes, and then I have to talk to people who are like, yeah, by the way, I'm here because my country is so war-torn that, you know, I can't live there anymore. Like, if we have a refugee crisis, the best way to stop a refugee crisis is to stop making refugees through war and global warming.
Global warming. Thank you very much, man.
That's a story for another day.
Thank you very much. Wow, that was. She had a lot of things to say, everybody. Let's see. Thank you, Cesar. We appreciate you. She was smart. That lady was an intelligent lady. I will give it to her. Let's see. What we got here today? How you doing, sir?
I'm doing okay. How you doing?
Doing great. What brings you out here today?
Well, actually, my brother and I are going to a concert at Merrimore Park, and this is where I'm meeting him.
Oh.
And it just so happened to be that there's a protest going on, and I'm kind of interested in knowing more about it.
Do you think the United States should go to war with Iran?
Probably not. The U.S. is kind of like the king of wars, and seems to be a pattern.
We do always get ourselves into war somehow, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully we don't get ourselves in another war.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I just know that war in general is bloody. It's emotionally and physically traumatizing, so if it's going to happen, we need a pretty damn good reason for it. And from what I've read today, there is no evidence that Iran is planning on using nuclear weapons against Israel, just like there was never any proof of weapons of mass destruction during the Second Gulf War.
Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
What's gonna be?
Is this going to be on TV?
Yeah, you're live right now.
Okay, do you know what channel?
It's Nick Shirley on YouTube.
Okay.
Nick Shirley.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you think Iran has a nuclear weapon or not? Because that's like the whole entire premise of if the United States gets in this war or not.
You know what I did want to ask you guys, you know, before I start protesting and then later think, what if I'm wrong? If it did have a nuclear weapon, do you think there would be a better solution than war?
You probably need to stop the nuclear weapon, right?
Yeah.
Before it gets sent to you.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't doubt that it's a lie. I wouldn't jump to conclusion, but we want war to be a last resort. Do we need more people to get killed to prevent a few deaths?
Yeah. Right now, the way the United States would get into it, from my understanding, is if because Iran has this place where this nuclear facility underneath this mountain, and it's I want to say it's 300 feet deep underneath. Not quite sure exactly. But I know it's a couple hundred feet deep, and the United States had this bomb called the Bunker Buster.
The Bunker Buster?
Yeah, so it'd be sent over it'd be sent over in a jet, and then it would go penetrate into the ground, and then it would essentially destroy their nuclear facility that's underneath this mountain. Okay. But the United States has this bomb. Israel doesn't. So that's if the United States does enter into this war, it would be precision attacks on these nuclear facilities.
Okay.
I don't think it'd really be boots on the ground, but it'd be these precision attacks. That's what veterans have told me. That's what I've been watching on the news as well. They say the Bunker Buster would go in and poof.
Wow.
Would you support a war? Would you support a war if that was the case? If it was fought through air, and as far as precision attacks, not physical troops on the ground? Because, for instance, Israel and Iran Iran, Iran, however you want to say it, there's gaps. It's not like they're neighboring countries. You got to go through Syria, other countries, whatnot, to go over. So you have to fly over. And so it'd be, if the war did happen, it'd most likely be a war fought through the air, through these precision attacks.
Okay, so are you saying that, like, in order for this war to happen, Israel would have to fly over a few countries to get to Iran?
Exactly.
And so
that's what they've been doing.
Are you thinking that not only is there no proof that Iran is planning any nuclear attacks, but the methods used to prevent this supposed attack are deadly to the countries that are between Israel and Iran?
Potentially, it could be.
Okay.
Because Israel has control of the air force of the air right now. Like they've taken control of the air around Iran. So, like, their air force is in control of the airspace over there.
Okay, it sounds like what you're describing is fighting fire with fire.
Yeah, you'd have to be fighting fire with fire, which, unfortunately,
I mean, really,
Israel's taken out like more than 20 of their leaders at this point, their military leaders and their nuclear scientists as well, and they've been launching these missiles at these nuclear facility sites.
Wow. Yeah, my general belief is the best time to fight any kind of fight, whether it's a war or a fist fight, is if you're going to get hurt anyway. If not, then there's many ways to fight mentally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you don't want to be the one getting punched. You want to be the one doing the punching, right?
Right.
You don't want to be the reactor. You want to be on the offense.
And if you jog on a regular basis, you may not even have to throw that punch. You might be able to run.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Well, thank you. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you very much.
Have a good one.
What channel number will I find this on?
Oh, Nick Shirley.
Nick Shirley.
Yeah.
Okay.
How are you doing, ma'am?
Quick question. Are you like influencers or what?
My name is Nick Shirley. We're an independent YouTube journalist here.
What's your YouTube name and what's your public stance, or like what's the goal of your YouTube?
Yeah, we're talking to people here at this protest, asking what their thoughts are on potentially going to a war.
Right. But so what's the purpose?
We're just talking to people, getting their opinions. Like you, what do you think we should do?
No. I want to understand like where do you stand and like.
That's what we're doing. We're talking to people, giving people the option to
Can I get your
express their
card?
belief.
Where can I
don't have business. I don't have a business card.
Can I get you on YouTube?
Yeah, it's Nick Shirley.
Nick Shirley? Okay, hold on. I'm gonna look you up.
What do you think is gonna happen?
I don't know. I mean, I hope for the best.
I hope we don't get in war.
I hope for the best.
Hopefully, it's not necessary for the United States to get into the war.
Well, listen, we don't want a nuclear war, right?
Yeah, right. So do you think it's better if, for instance, you don't want a nuclear war, I don't want a nuclear war. Do you think it's better if the United States were to enter into the war right now and destroy these nuclear facilities that Iran supposedly has?
I'm pro-America. I'm an immigrant, clearly you can hear from my accent. I'm pro-America. I'm very patriotic. So I'm a first-generation immigrant. I love this country. I swore under oath to protect this country. But I disagree with the foreign policy of getting engaged in wars in other countries.
I don't think the United States needs to go and fight all these other wars for other countries.
And I don't think so either. What's your name?
Nick Shirley,
Nick?
Shirley Temple.
Nick Shirley Temple.
Nick Shirley.
Wait, Shirley?
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, see, the title says on this video. Yeah, do you have the YouTube app?
I have to update my phone.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, there you go. Right there.
Gotcha.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
All right, thanks.
Have a good one. Let's keep on moving along here. Hey, thank you, Miss Cesar. This chick is smoking rainbows and farting sparkles. Come back to reality. This is the real world. How are you guys doing?
All right, buddy. How are you?
What brings you guys out here today?
Burritos, man.
Read
We're
the signs?
burritos.
I know. Burritos? You're talking about
green
burritos?
salsa, red salsa. How do you like yours?
Ooh, burritos? Probably like green salsa. I don't
green
really like
salsa?
I'm not a spicy
My
guy.
My parents have food trucks up in Bellingham. If you're ever there, man, just come on over. I got you. It's called Ake Tacos.
Ooh.
Fire.
11 years. Wait, we shouldn't talk to press.
I got you.
Yeah. Okay.
Talking about burritos.
Yeah, we're talking about burritos. What do you guys think is going to happen, though, with this war? Do you think the U.S. is going to enter in, or do you think we're going to stay out of it?
I don't know. Check on Polymarket.
Check on Polymarket. What's it saying on Polymarket?
I don't know. You have to look.
Okay. I'll look it up. I like Polymarket. Polymarket's been great help to the channel, actually, especially during the election time. Let's see. Who shall we talk to here at this protest? it's kind of a smaller protest. I think the spirit of protesters across America is dwindling down, especially these past 2 weekends. But let's keep talking to some of the folks out here. Let's see, who we got? Let's go talk to these people here with the signs. Got this lady over here. No U.S.-Israel war on Iran. Yo, chat, I'm actually really curious. What do you guys think the U.S. should do? How are you doing, ma'am? Doing good? Same lies, same plan, no war on Iran. War for billionaires, Greater Israel, BB, oil, really? How are you guys doing? Do you guys trust the information we're getting from Israel about Iran's nuclear facilities?
No, absolutely not.
Why would I trust what Israel has to say about anything, really, especially in wartime?
Yeah. Oh, I thought we were about to get hit. We're here on the road. Yeah, let's take a step back a little bit. We just got hit by a car, everybody. Hey, thank you very much, Locky Zone. So what do you think the United States should do? For instance, say Iran does have this nuclear facility, and we do have the bunker buster. Should the United States utilize the bunker buster and go and destroy their nuclear facility?
Absolutely not.
No.
No. I mean, our own intelligence said that they're not developing a bomb. Iran, we had an agreement with Iran, and they had agreed not to enrich. So I think diplomacy is the right thing to do.
Do you think we're past diplomacy at this point?
No, I think
Trump said he was trying for a long time, like Iran cannot have a nuclear.
I don't think he was trying. I think he was.
Netanyahu went and did his thing.
I think the diplomacy we had just before the war started was just that was just to get Iran off guard. I don't think that was a serious diplomacy.
Yeah, it was a smokescreen.
Would you be? What do you think is the probability that the Ayatollah comes to the United States and has a meeting with Trump in the Oval Office?
Zero.
Yeah. Trump just said he might. He's playing with the option of it. What do you think would happen in the Oval Office if that meeting did happen?
I would be wondering if the Ayatollah would make it to Washington and not be murdered on the way. Given the past performance of Trump that we've seen.
Given the fact that the Israelis killed or assassinated the negotiators who were negotiating the nuclear deal, why would you trust? And also the fact that the U.S. did not negotiate in good faith, I would think that they would only negotiate through a third party.
If you had to live in Iran, Israel, or the United States, where would you want to live?
The United States.
United States. And who do you trust more, the Ayatollah, Netanyahu, or Donald Trump?
Easy, the Ayatollah. It's easy, yeah.
Why so?
They just don't have really a history of lying, and their country is not involved in full-time aggression all around the world, everywhere, at all times. So,
where do you think
he's not a warmonger, whereas Israel and the United States are clearly warmongering nations.
Do you think Trump's a warmonger?
Yeah.
You think Trump's a warmonger?
I don't know if he's a warmonger. I'd say he's a con man. I don't think he's a. I don't think he's honest, and so I don't think you can trust what he says.
I personally don't think he's a warmonger.
Yeah, I don't think he's interested in war, but I don't think he's someone you can trust. So in that sense, last time he renegotiated NAFTA with, say, Mexico and Canada, and then he comes to office again, he tears up that agreement. Or we had an agreement with Iran, and he tore that agreement up. So he's not someone that you can trust. But yes, I don't believe that he is. I don't believe he's a neocon in the sense that he likes going to war.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I do believe he likes to make money. And so he's always looking, how can he make money for himself, or how can he advance himself?
So we were talking to a lady earlier today. She asked me if I would be wanting to go to war, right? Because I'm physically fit to go to war. If I needed to, I guess I could go to war, right? And personally, I wouldn't want to go to war to fight this war in Iran, especially if it's boots on the ground. I wouldn't want to die in soil that's not mine. I know many other veterans have, which major respect to all those people that have done that. But I feel like we're in a day and age now where we don't need to be sending troops across the seas to fight all these foreign wars.
So you're saying it's an okay war as far as you're concerned? You just don't want to be in it? I mean, is that...
No, I'm not saying it's an okay war. I'm saying for somebody in the United States, I would not want to see U.S. troops die in Iran.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I would hope that like we could fight these wars. I mean, I don't ever want to see another country invade the United States.
Yeah, but this is an aggression by the United States. You're talking as if these kind of wars, we have to know how to fight them. Well, I mean, I don't know if you're pro this war against it. Sounds like you're kind of indifferent or something. But I mean, the U.S. along with Israel are promoting these wars, are getting us into these wars. So this is not the war we ever want to fight. Any war like this, all the wars that the U.S. has done recently, since I've been living, okay, have been unnecessary wars. So we don't need to learn how to fight these wars. We need to learn how to prevent them from happening, okay?
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Okay.
People are heading out. This was a pretty quick protest.
It was. Yeah, I was thinking they were going to march that way and then into the U districts.
Yeah, not too many people showed up today. Do you think a lot of protesters are having a little tired of protesting after these past 2 weeks?
I don't know what it is. I have no idea, really. I don't.
Are going to be any other protests here in Seattle this weekend?
I don't know. I just heard of this one, and that's all I know.
What do you think about the riots that took place?
I will say I'm kind of surprised, really, that the demonstrations have not been more plentiful and more numerous. This No Kings thing last weekend, I'm surprised that just wasn't preempted by a no war protest. But it wasn't. I think that would have been more appropriate. This is, I mean, it's important to them.
The protest worked. We still don't have a king.
Yeah. But I think something like this really should be a priority. We're about to.
I think most people would agree they don't want to see the U.S. go to war.
Thousands and thousands of people are going to die. Hundreds of thousands of people are going to die. Tens of thousands will probably be Americans. For what? For what? Okay?
Yeah.
For
that's
what?
that's what I'm like referring to. Like I wouldn't want to go die in a foreign war on soil that's not where I'm from.
Yeah, on a foreign soil. What?
On foreign soil. I wouldn't want to die on foreign soil.
Well, I mean, if it was for the preservation of this country, I can see doing it. If it seemed absolutely necessary, I mean, that's what you do.
Unless it
that's
was
what Iran
necessary.
is doing. That's what Iran is doing. They were preparing for years, I guess, for this kind of contingency where Israel or the United States would invade them and try to take them over.
Because no doubt I would go fight for my country. Because no doubt I would go fight for my country if it's necessary.
Most people would.
And Trump and J.D. Vance have said that too. Like we don't want to send any soldiers unless it is necessary.
Yeah.
And if they do go to war, we're going to make sure you guys are equipped with everything you need. And then this lady over here, we were talking to her, and she was acting like we're already depleted in supplies. I think we have more supplies than anybody, really. I think Russia's the only country that has more supplies than we do. At one point, they did have more missiles and nuclear weapons than we did. But I think the U.S. has more, if not more than just about any other country in the world.
I'm not sure.
Who knows what China or North Korea's got? But between China, North Korea, Russia, the U.S., I think those are probably the main four suppliers out of all the countries. Maybe Israel. Who knows?
It's beyond me. I've heard a lot of analysts talking about these kinds of things, and
it's hard to trust people when they just sit behind a desk and they don't really go to the locations. They don't go check out the facilities. So who really knows what information we're getting? It's like we're fighting an information war these days as well.
Can I ask you, who do you represent?
My name's Nick Shirley on YouTube. I represent myself.
Oh, okay. So you do a YouTube channel?
Yeah. We're live right now, actually. See, we got 4,000 people watching us today here.
Okay. Are you from Seattle?
I am not from Seattle. I actually did grow up here.
Oh.
I used to live here in Seattle when I was younger, but moved out.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for your time, sir.
Okay, yeah.
Appreciate you.
Good luck.
Good luck. Have a great rest of your day. Hey, somebody had just been a member for 9 months, it said on here. Let's see what else we got out here today. Let's see if we have any other protesters. Let's see, here's the signs they had out here for the day, for the people. Let's see what it said. Money for people's needs, not war Money for people's needs, not war with Iran. AnswerCoalition.org. No U.S.-Israel war on Iran. Let's see, do we got any other people we want to talk to out here today? Someone said in the chat, find a hot chick to interview. All right, we'll see. We can find a hot chick to interview. How are you guys doing? Can we ask some of you guys some questions? What brings you guys out here today? What do you guys think is going to happen? What's your prediction? Any predictions on what the U.S. is going to do, what Trump's going to do?
Oh my God, who knows? You know, from one day to the next, from one moment to the next,
It's very nice to meet you.
Anyway,
I hope to see you again.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
He said the other day he's going to give 2 weeks. Do you think he's bluffing?
I think he's. I don't even know if he's bluffing. He's just, you know, he doesn't really know what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
If there's,
If
to
you were
me,
president, what would you do?
I definitely would not go to war. I would try to negotiate, and I would get, you know, people to the table to talk, because that's how we, you know, try to solve a very, very difficult situation.
Yeah, the president, the Ayatollah in Iran, he's saying he's not really negotiating right now. If someone's not willing to come to the table, what should we do?
I know, but Mom needs you. Thank you so much. Okay. Anyway.
Oh man, we're having such a good conversation. All right, you guys, go ahead, become a member. It's $5 a month to help support the channel. We're gonna do members only down here in the streets of Seattle today. Hey, thank you, Yuraz. We appreciate you. Interview the fattest person you can find, he says. Oh man, that's a little mean. All right, let's see who. But now, do you guys actually want me to do it? I don't really know if we can. People actually are pretty fit. But yeah, if you guys want to become a member, we're going to do a members only live stream sometime today, talking to people. Maybe we'll go do one in downtown Seattle to see what's popping down there. Because we also got to be filming today, tomorrow, and Monday. I'm here for a separate video we're working on here on the channel. Seattle is turning a little lawless right now. Let's get one more interview. Let's talk to this guy. We'll give you guys what you want. This guy might be the fattest guy here at the protest. We'll talk to him real quick.
Surveillance stuff on Palestinians, facial recognition, and AI crap, and then they just train American cops and then use it on
Let's see. Let him talk for a second.
You guys want to talk?
Yeah, I wonder if we can see this guy has a lot of information, opinion on what's going on. We were trying to see.
I can give you my opinion.
What do you think is going to happen?
With Iran?
Yeah.
I think unfortunately.
Is it Iran?
It's Iran.
Iran.
Yeah.
So Iran.
Yeah. I think unfortunately Trump is gonna go to war, but I think it's gonna be a bad decision, and it's gonna ruin the world. I think it's gonna ruin the U.S. too before anyone else.
In what ways would it ruin the U.S. do you think?
Well, I think it's gonna be very expensive. It's gonna kill a lot of Americans. It's gonna destroy a lot of American bases in the region, and at the end of it, it's going to be more destructive than the Iraq War.
Do you think this would be more destructive than the Iraq War?
100%. Iran is a bigger country, has more people, and it has at this point it has more military capabilities than Iraq did in 2003. So there is no reason to believe that it's going to be in any way less destructive.
How long do you think a war would last for? I've talked to veterans, and they say that this would be more precision attacks, like it would not essentially even be a war.
Isn't that what they said in 2003?
I was alive then, but I was 2 years old. So
I mean, I was also not that old, but like I've read and I've seen what they said, and they said the same thing. They said it's going to be a quick war, precision strike. We're going to be in and out.
They were trying to find Osama bin Laden. They didn't find him until Obama was president.
Exactly.
George Bush did not do a very good job.
I mean, I don't think any of them did a good job. Not Obama, not George Bush, not Biden. No one did a good job with foreign policy, in my opinion, in this country. But ultimately, they said the same thing about Iraq. They said we're going to be in and out. There's this. You can look this up. There was this. It's a meme actually now, where like Bush stood on this like ship and had like a big banner says like, "We did it, mission accomplished," and declared victory in 2003. Like within like a month or two, I think. I don't remember exactly, but within like immediately after the war, he said like, "We did it. We took out Saddam. Iraq is liberated. Mission accomplished. We're ready to go." And then 10 years later, they're still there, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a bad war.
Yeah.
And like a lot of people like are disgraced by how long the United States continued to fight for that war. And like Dick Cheney, he's a warmonger, and there's even theories that like they created the war so they could be making money off the war.
100%. And I think that's what's happening here too. And ultimately, but I feel like even if it is a short war, it's ultimately, in my opinion, it's an immoral war, right? Like, why are we going to war with Iran, spending millions of dollars, trillions of dollars even potentially, when we have people here who are homeless? And when Trump is trying to cut Medicaid and Medicare for people and trying to cut social benefits here, Israel has free healthcare. Do you know that? Mm-hmm. We pay them billions of dollars a year. They get free healthcare. We don't.
Yeah.
Right?
There's definitely a lot of things that are like weird about the relationship between the United States and Israel. Like I don't think anyone can question that.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally.
And there's weird things with a lot of relationships the United States have. Like, why do we give Ukraine so much money? Why do we give them billions of dollars? Meanwhile, we had money here.
Yeah,
billions
of dollars.
Why did Hunter Biden have relationships inside of the energy fields in Ukraine? Like,
I 100%
what the
agree.
heck was going on right there?
corruption,
you know what I mean?
for sure.
There's a lot of corruption. Right?
100%.
And everyone needs to do their own research and formulate their own opinions and see what's going on.
What do you think is going to happen?
Trump said we got 2 weeks. I think he's bluffing. I think he's like low-key already knows what he's going to do.
Yeah.
And they did just send over some of the fighter jets.
Yeah, the B-2 bombers.
The B-2 bombers. They did send over the B-2 bombers. And those do have the capability of the bunker buster.
Yeah.
And I think if Trump goes to war, I hope it's not a long-lasting war. Hopefully it can be...
You think it would be a good thing if he goes to war?
I don't think war is really a good thing in any case, but I would feel a lot more comfortable with Trump in power than I would if Joe Biden or Kamala Harris were handling the situation right now.
Honestly, I'm not sure if I necessarily would say that Biden would be better. I think or Harris.
I think Trump would. I feel
saying
a lot more
Trump
comfortable
is
if Trump's in office than if Biden or Kamala Harris were in office during this time. I think he shows a lot more strength, and he's a lot more transparent with the American people as well.
So that's the part. I mean, I'm not sure who I would prefer to be in office right now. I think they're both trash, to be honest with you.
100% Trump. Someone who's actually...
Why do you think so? 100% Trump. I want to say, though...
Joe Biden?
Fuck Joe Biden. But I want to say just one quick thing about what you said about his being transparent. I don't think that's true, because at the very least, let's take this particular war, right?
Yeah.
Like, he was saying he actually deceived not just the Iranians, but the American people too, right? It wasn't the 2 days... 2 days after Israel struck, the U.S. was supposed to have negotiations with Iran, right? And it was supposed to be the final round of negotiations in Oman on Sunday.
What we were told is that they went without U.S. approval and did those attacks.
I mean, do you believe that? Come on.
That's something we don't...
I mean, but the thing is, they said that initially,
Yeah.
and then they came out and said, and like Trump, your guy, came out and said, we give them the green light, right? He came out and said that. We give them the green light. Well, you can look it up.
I'll look it up, but-
He came out afterwards, he said, we give them the green light. They're doing this with U.S. approval. And then the thing about Trump, too, you want to say he's being transparent. He's actually being very flip-floppy, right? Like, at first he was saying, like you said, he was saying, we had nothing to do with this. They did it without telling us. And then they said, everything is being done with coordination. And then he said, we give them the green light, and we're giving them the weapons, and we're helping them in their defensive capabilities. And then he made it sound like he flip-flopped again and said, we're not going to get involved. This is not our war. We're only going to get involved if American people get harmed, right?
Yeah.
And then he came out again, flip-flopped again, and said, we're issuing a evacuation order for all of Tehran, and he demanded that Iran completely capitulates unconditionally, right?
Mm-hmm.
He demanded complete unconditional surrender of Iran. And then he flip-flopped again and said, actually, I'm going to think about it for 2 weeks. So he's not being transparent. He's being very flip-floppy and very vague.
In a time of war, you don't want the president saying what his attack plans are to the press.
Well-
I'm saying, like, as far as him, like, taking questions from the press, he goes and answers them. Like, he's not hiding from the press, like, for instance, Biden was. But in a time of war...
Biden, man.
I know. You
like
don't need to
that
defend him.
yeah.
But, what you get from Trump is what you get. Like, he's not trying to hide who
Do you
he
think
is.
Trump doesn't lie? Like, do you think he doesn't lie when he talks to the press or talks to the public?
I think he definitely exaggerates on a lot of things, right?
Okay, well, didn't he say he was going to end all wars? Isn't that what he campaigned on? He said he was going to end Ukraine war on day one. He said he was going to end the war in Gaza. And he said he wasn't going to go to war with Iran. And now he's done the exact opposite of all those three things, right?
Yeah, a lot of people are questioning Trump right now.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to see what happens, right?
I mean,
But
go ahead.
I don't know if he could have controlled Netanyahu in this attack that Netanyahu
He
went on.
100% could have. Because it's very clear. I think Netanyahu recognizes this. Trump recognizes this. Israel cannot do anything.
I think Netanyahu kind of lives like in his own world. Like, he does what he wants.
I think that's
I went to
possible.
Israel, and a lot of the people in Israel actually did not like Netanyahu.
Yeah,
which I thought was interesting.
He's an unpopular. Well, the thing is, Netanyahu is an unpopular guy. His policies are not unpopular. So if you look at the polls, for example, 82% of people actually support the genocide in Gaza. About a significantly high percentage of people also support the war in Iran. So like he's an.
If you're an Israeli
Yeah.
and you live in Israel,
Yeah.
and October 7th happens, and your neighbors in Gaza did what they did. The perspective when I went to Israel to like make a video on it, and I went to the Gaza border,
Yeah.
and the perspective from the Israeli people was like, well, we can't step foot in their land without them killing us.
That's not true.
That's what the Israelis told me. All right.
Well, I mean, that's just not
I
true.
also went to some other towns in Israel where Muslims and Jews are living peacefully together, which is interesting. I thought.
Yeah, but I think so. Let me ask you
I think
this.
it's like important to like go to these locations, gather these perspectives, and it's impossible to have a perfect opinion, right?
Yeah.
Because
it is not hard to see to have a perspective of humanity, though. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask people the question. Do you think anything justifies killing children?
No.
Anything? Exactly. That if like that's the whatever happened on October 7, that doesn't justify killing children. Right now, not only is Israel killing children, they are starving the entire population. Do you know that? 2.3 million people in Gaza are being deliberately starved. And the only way they are able to get aid is through these Israeli manufactured choke points where they line up like cattle, and then the minute they are released, they are bombed and they are killed. Do you know that just yesterday Israel killed 100 people who were seeking aid in Gaza? Mm-hmm. What can justify this?
When I was in Israel, I went to the Gaza border, like where the people were bringing in the aid, and the Israeli people told me, well, Hamas, they're controlling what the people actually get. And so we give the aid to the people in Gaza, but then Hamas is the one in control. So I feel like
food and what?
That's the thing.
The thing is, I think Hamas is.
I don't know if we can trust information from either side.
It's not about. It's videos. It's not information. Like you can look it up. You can see for yourself the videos of people who are being starved and then who are being bombed as they're seeking aid. We've been watching this genocide live stream for the past 623 days. It's not like, oh, I'm getting information from this side, I'm getting information from that side. It's live stream. I think this is the difference for this what's happening right now is that before it was easier to do propaganda. It was easier.
Leave soon.
Okay.
Do you want to leave with us?
Yeah, when you're leaving. It was easier to lie. It was easier to do propaganda. It was easier to say, oh, they're just lying or whatever. But now we don't have to take anyone's word for it. We can see it with our own two eyes. And like you said, nothing can justify killing children. I have personally seen children bombed. I've seen so many corpses.
The videos are horrific that you see.
It's disgusting. Nothing can justify this. And this is paid by our dollars. Again, we are paying for these bombs. We are supplying these bombs. And meanwhile, the Israelis get free healthcare. And we have people here who can't even afford healthcare and they're suffering from healthcare debt, right? Mm-hmm. Nothing justifies this. And Trump is doing it. I oppose Biden because he was doing the same thing. I wanted Trump to win over Biden because I had some hope that he would actually fulfill his promises. He would actually stay true to his word and be anti-war and stop the genocide in Gaza, and that hasn't happened.
You did see the ceasefire take place once Trump was in office, though, which was making progress. But I mean, I don't have all the answers to the war, and I don't want to defend on something that I'm not 100% sure on, right? And I think that's why I think it's important. Like that's why I went to Israel to like understand like what was happening and get the perspective from the people on the ground. I did actually plan on going into Gaza.
But you couldn't.
I couldn't.
You know why? Because no one is allowed to go into Gaza.
Yeah,
that's one of the things that Israel does too. I agree with you. People should be able to go.
But then I was told also if I were to go into Gaza, I'd be killed instantly.
That's not true. Why do you think so?
They said that I'd be killed because I'm a white man.
I can introduce you to so many white people who have been to Gaza, who have been
in the past or since
since the genocide. Since the genocide, since October 7, it's been hard for press to enter Gaza. But people have gone as volunteers, as doctors, as nurses, white people,
weird that Red Cross
Jewish
is
people.
The one who, it's weird that Red Cross is kind of the people that facilitate a lot of what goes on.
I agree with you.
Like,
Israel is the reason that's happening. Israel is the reason that's preventing.
There's so much shady stuff, and I don't think any of us are ever going to know the truth until.
Yeah, but just because I want to clear the record, I think this is very important because this is a lot of Israeli propaganda. Jewish people, white people, all kinds of people are welcome in Gaza. They are taken with open arms. People in Gaza are some of the kindest, most welcoming, most inclusive people on earth, despite them being faced with terror and with bombing, with starvation and with genocide for 20 months. They're some of the kindest people on earth, and you should not take Israelis' word for it. Go for yourself if you can. You're not going to be able to because Israelis will not let you because they don't want you to know the truth. They don't want people in the world to know the truth. That's why they're preventing people from going inside.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Thank you.
Best of luck whenever you do.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
You too.
All right, you guys. We're going to head off. The protest is over. That was like the quickest protest I've ever seen in my entire life. Here, thank you very much, Lockie. She said get a nice dinner. Thank you very much, Dexter, Lure Lab, for becoming a member. Thank you very much, Shelly. We appreciate you for the donation as well. Someone says, is ice in the vicinity? All right, you guys, we're going to do a members-only live stream Guys, where should we do that? Should we go down to downtown Seattle and go walk around and see what's popping down there in Seattle? Do a members-only live stream for about 10 to 20 minutes down there. And we're also filming more videos for you guys down here in Seattle. But if you guys are not subscribed, make sure you guys are subscribed. Give this video a like. And you guys know, we're trying to do these live streams every single Saturday or Sunday. We're working hard for you guys out here. We're everywhere. And we'll see y'all very, very soon. Peace out. Thank y'all.